I still remember the smell of that kitchen, coffee, and my mother's cinnamon bread on a Sunday morning. That smell is gone now. The house is gone. And in a way, so is the brother I thought I knew. My name is Claire. I'm 34 years old, and for most of my life, our family home outside Dayton, Ohio was the one constant thing we had. Every holiday led back there. Every birthday, every hard year. My older brother, Daniel, was the one who handled everything after our parents died. The funeral, the paperwork, the lawyers, the calls none of us wanted to make. We trusted him completely. We had no reason not to. I remember the week after the funeral, the three of us standing in the living room, surrounded by boxes we didn't know how to fill. Mark wanted to keep everything. I wanted to keep almost nothing, because every object felt like it might break me. Daniel just kept saying, "I'll handle it. Go home. Get some rest. I've got this." We let him. Looking back, I think we were relieved someone else was willing to carry it. For the first year after Mom passed, the house just sat there, empty, waiting, full of furniture none of us had the strength to touch. Daniel said he was figuring things out. I believed him. I had my own grief to carry, and I was grateful someone else was carrying the rest. Every few months he'd send a short text, still sorting out the house stuff, and I never once asked for details. I trusted him that completely. Then one Tuesday in March, I drove past our old street, just to look the way I sometimes did on my lunch break, slowing the car without really meaning to. And there was a sign in the yard, "Sold." I sat in my car for a long time, not moving, not breathing right. The house where I learned to ride a bike in the driveway, Dad jogging beside me with his hand hovering near the seat, where he taught me to parallel park using 2 trash cans set 6 feet apart in the street, where Mom's garden still bloomed every spring without her, the tulips coming back like clockwork even after she couldn't. Sold. Red letters on a white sign stuck into the lawn I used to mow every Saturday morning for $5. And I hadn't heard a single word about any of it. I called Daniel immediately. He didn't pick up. An hour later, a text came through. "We'll talk soon. Don't make this bigger than it is. Don't make this bigger than it is." I went quiet after that. 6 months of silence, because every time I tried to bring it up, he changed the subject, or said he was slammed at work, or reminded me again that he was the one who'd done all the heavy lifting after Mom and Dad died. As if that gave him permission to erase them without asking the rest of us first. It wasn't until our younger brother Mark finally cornered him on a phone call that the full truth came out. Daniel hadn't just sold the house, he'd sold it 8 months earlier, and told no one. Mark had stumbled onto it almost by accident. A mutual friend mentioned seeing moving trucks at the old place months ago, and Mark, confused, started asking questions at door. Daniel couldn't dodge anymore. He'd used almost all of the money to cover his own debts, a business that had quietly failed, a second mortgage that had gone badly wrong, late notices he'd been hiding from everyone, including his own wife. He needed cash, fast, and the house was the only asset large enough to save him. To him, in that moment, it stopped being our childhood. It became a number on a spreadsheet. I confronted him in person 2 weeks later at a coffee shop that felt far too bright for the conversation we were about to have. I asked him flat out how he could do something that permanent without even a phone call to warn us. He looked at me, and for the first time, he didn't sound defensive. He sounded tired, genuinely, completely tired. "You don't know what it's like," he said. "Everyone calling me, everyone needing me to handle it. I was drowning, Claire. The house was the only thing left that was worth enough to pull me out." "You could have asked," I said. "Mark and I would have helped. We would have figured something out together. Would you?" he asked, and there was no anger in it, just exhaustion. "Or would you have just been disappointed in me a different way?" I didn't have an answer for that. I wanted to scream at him right there in that coffee shop. Instead, I just asked one quiet question. "Did you even walk through it one last time?" I sat with that grief longer than I expected to, and slowly, I started to understand something underneath my own anger. I wasn't only mourning a house. I was mourning the fact that I never got to say goodbye to it. And underneath that, I was angry because Daniel had carried a weight none of us ever saw. And instead of asking any of us for help, he made one irreversible decision that quietly erased the last place we all still felt close to our parents. Mark and I barely spoke to Daniel for almost 4 months after that. Mark especially was furious. He kept saying it wasn't even about the money. It was about being treated like a child who couldn't be trusted with the truth. I understood that anger completely because I felt it too, even on the days I tried to talk myself out of it. Then, last Thanksgiving, Daniel showed up at my front door unannounced, holding a small wooden box. Inside was a piece of the porch railing, the one Dad had built by hand the summer I turned 10, sanded smooth over 40 years of hands resting on it before dinner, before goodbyes, before everything. Daniel had gone back to the house before the new owners moved their furniture in and cut a section off with his own 2 hands. "I couldn't save the house," he said, standing on my porch in the cold, his breath fogging in the porch light. "But I wanted you and Mark to have something that was actually real, not just an apology over the phone." I didn't forgive him right away. Forgiveness doesn't work that fast, not when something that large has been taken without your consent. But I let him inside. We sat at my kitchen table for almost 3 hours, and for the first time in nearly a year, we actually talked, really talked, about how scared he'd been, how alone he'd felt holding the whole family together while the rest of us grieved quietly from a safe distance, never once asking what it was costing him to be the strong one. Mark came over 2 days later, and Daniel told him the same thing, word for word, no excuses dressed up as explanations this time. It didn't fix everything in one conversation, but it was the first honest conversation the 3 of us had had in almost 2 years. I still think about that house more than I probably should. The blue door that isn't ours anymore. The garden someone else waters now. The tulips that will keep coming back for strangers every spring without ever knowing whose hands planted them first. But I think too about that small piece of railing sitting on my shelf, worn smooth from 40 years of hands resting on it, and how sometimes the person we're angriest at is quietly carrying something we never once thought to ask about. We can't always save the places that raised us. Houses get sold, doors get repainted, gardens belong to whoever waters them next. But maybe if we're willing to sit at the table a little longer than feels comfortable, past the anger, past the silence, we can still choose to save each other. If you've ever lost a piece of your childhood to a decision you never got to make, I'd love to know how you found your way through it. Tell me in the comments. I read every single one.